Morning first year, hope you're all well. The first thing just I'd like to highlight is that you should have found that you have been added to a new team. We thought last week there was a little bit of confusion with all of the first years being on the same team, so we've just decided to put you in a team for your own classes to hopefully sort of minimise any confusion you're having of what work is for you. So on to this week's work. We are starting our new topic, which we would have been doing if we were in class, which is a chemistry topic called Elements, Compounds and the Periodic Table. So all of this week's work and tasks is going to be around finding out what an element is. So how we're going to do this is that on a Monday, I'm going to submit to you a checklist of tasks for you to work throughout the week. So this is to do you for your whole 3 periods that you would normally have for science. The idea behind this is that we know that some of you will have different circumstances where you're not necessarily able to access a device during the day or all day. So the idea is that if I give you the checklist for the week, it means that you can work through at your own time, at your own pace. And if you need any help, then you can go into Teams and ask the questions. So try not to be overwhelmed with the amount of work. If you can, ideally try and set aside the time that you would normally be in science to do this work. But as I said, that's not always, that's not always going to be easy to do. So this week, like I said, we're going to be learning about elements. So the first thing we're going to do is watch this video on the checklist. So once I've completed the video, I'll put a link here, and it means that you can go back and listen again if you need to. So our tasks for this week are all about the elements in the periodic table. So that's what our learning intention is. And our success criteria. So by the end of this week, I'm hoping that you can all tell me what is meant by an element, explain the elements that are arranged in the periodic table, and then use the periodic table to find the symbol and atomic number for some elements. Okay, and how we're going to do that is I'm going to talk you through a little bit of theory in a minute, so you can watch that. There's then a couple of different songs on the internet just to help you sort of familiarise yourself with some elements, some element names. You may have heard of these before. So if you click onto these, it will take you to the videos. In the Files tab, I'm going to put some files there to help you as well. So one of them is this booklet here. Okay, and what this has in it is some information about elements and their chemical symbols. So what I would like you to do is read through the couple of pages. There's only 4 pages here. So read through the information, and you'll notice on page 1, there's a couple of missing blanks. So you're going to hopefully be able to fill those out. Now, it's up to you how you do this. You could just write the words down on a piece of paper. You could write out the whole passage and fill in the blanks on a piece of paper. Or if you have access to digital technology, you can open this up in Word and type in your answers. It doesn't matter which way you do it, whatever's easiest for you. So I would like you to fill in the blanks in this page. Read through the information. So you'll see here there's a bit of information about the chemical symbols of the elements and a bit of information about what you would find in the periodic table. So I'll just talk very briefly about that just now. In your periodic table, we have a list of all of the elements that can be found. And normally what you get in the periodic table is that you get the name of the element. So in this case, it would be silicon. And then you get something called the chemical symbol. In this case, it's Si. And then an atomic number, in this case, 14. Now, depending on the periodic table you look at, you may also get atomic mass. We're not going to be bothered with that just now. So in your periodic table, this is the information that you can find about it. And what that basically means is that all of our elements have their own symbol to help you identify them, because it can be too much bother trying to write out the full word the whole time. So in this page, you can read some information about how those symbols, where those symbols come from. It's not as simple as like it is in silicon, where it's the first 2 letters. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's very simple, like nitrogen and carbon just have their first letters, N and C. But sometimes we have the first 2 letters, like calcium, chlorine, well, not chlorine, but it kind of sounds a bit like chlorine, and silicon. But then you also end up with some that don't sound really anything like their name. For example, iron is Fe, gold is Au. So be careful with that. Now, in the Files tab, you will also find that there is a copy of a periodic table. You can also access the periodic table from the internet. You get different versions of it, but I've put this one in because it seems quite straightforward and it's not got too much information in it. So what you can find in this periodic table, if we look at carbon here, we've got the name of the element, the symbol C, and then up in the corner here, that's the atomic number. Okay, so you're going to just, well, first of all, I'll point out that I do not expect you to learn every single element in the periodic table. Okay, that would be a waste of time because you'll always have access to it, but also it would take you a very long time. But what I do want you to do is just become a bit more familiar with the periodic table and sort of practice using it, because you can see there's a lot of information here. So one of the tasks that I'm going to get you to do in our worksheet, okay, is to use your periodic table to fill out this table. So it's not got every element, it's just got some selected elements. So using your periodic table, I'm going to see if you can fill out the first 2 columns of this table with the symbol and the atomic number. So really it's just a sort of fact-finding mission, just to see if you can use your periodic table and get used to some of the names of the elements, because I'm sure there's some that you've heard of and there'll be lots on it that you've never heard of before. Now I've put here as an extension task, there is a 3rd column saying if it's a metal or a non-metal. There's nothing in the booklet to tell you how to find that out, which is why it's an extension task. So if you've got the time and you want to challenge yourself, then have a look on the internet to see if you can find out how you would decide if something was a metal or a non-metal, and then see if you can fill out that table. Again, you can do it on paper and take a photo and upload it as an assignment, or you can edit it in Word and add it in. Okay, so that's our booklet. So if I go back to my checklist, so we should have watched this video, had a listen to the periodic table songs, the booklet I just talked you through there, copy and complete the notes on page 1 and the first 2 tables of the column on page 4, and you can complete the extension task if you wish. The last thing, well, second last thing, just again on the same note of just trying to familiarise yourself with elements in the periodic table, is we have a worksheet for you to do. Now, you can see here there's quite a lot of information in this worksheet. Again, please don't be put off. Hopefully you'll find it fun actually as you work your way through. It's kind of like puzzles. But basically it's a way of familiarising yourself with the elements by going through some different tasks. So for example, the first one is about elements that are named after countries. So again, what I'm looking for here is, rather than just Google it, I'm looking for you to kind of use your problem solving skills to try and see if you can work out what the answers would be. So for example, the first one, the country of France, what I would like you to do is have a look at your periodic table. Have a look at your periodic table and see if you can find any element that sounds like it's been named after France. Now, I'll give away the ending and say it's francium or francium. And you can probably just work that out by looking at the name. So rather than just Google it, what I want you to do is have a look at your periodic table and see if you can kind of deduce which ones it would be. Okay, the next one, so there are 4 of them named after planets. So again, using the periodic table, see if you can find out any of the elements that are named after planets. The next one is named after scientists. And again, you're looking at the surname to kind of help you a little bit. So Einstein, Curie, Fermi, and see if you can find any of the elements that sound like those names. For this one here, other interesting element names, be careful, this is an American worksheet, so when it says what element has the same name of one of our coins, it's actually talking about an American coin. The next bit is very similar to what you did in one of the first tasks, which is just fill out the symbol and the element name. Just be careful here that the first 2 columns go together and the second 2 go together. And similar task here, and then a little crossword and some sort of problem solving questions at the end. Now, I appreciate this is a lot and lots of work to do. Please don't worry about completing every single part of it. Again, the idea behind this task is just to get yourself used to using the periodic table so that you're more familiar with it. There will be some questions that you will struggle with. Don't worry too much about that. Okay, it's just about using your periodic table. And the last thing that we're going to do is we're going to give you a quiz to do, which will be available in the assignments tab towards the end of the week. We're not going to make that live straight away, because what we don't want happening is that you come on to do your work, you read over the couple of pages, and then you try the assignment. It really should be tackled once you've completed all the other tasks. So that will probably go on Wednesday afternoon, and we would like all of these tasks to be completed by Sunday, so that you're ready to start the next tasks on the Monday. Now, as with anything first year, if there's anything you're not sure of, if you need the work clarified, or if there's something about the content, about elements or periodic table you would like me to go over, then please just put a note on Teams, or you can email me directly if you don't want to put it on Teams. But please ask if you're not sure, and obviously I'll do my best to help you. Okay, so good luck, and like I say, any questions, just ask.